So maybe you could start by, telling me who you are. What
My name's Ivory, and I'm a Toronto-based singer, actor, model, dancer, fire breather, and body positive activist.
and that's it, eh?
Yeah, oh, that's it. I mean, I'm also an archer, and as soon as I was saying fire breather, I'm like, you forgot archer, target shooter.
Are you proactive too?
I do.
Okay.
I'm an international woman of mystery.
That's sums it all up.
That's it.
And what do you do with your sounds like you don't have much spare time, but what do you do in your spare time? I know where you are right now, so tell us.
Yeah. So by day, generally, I run a busy Toronto-based event staffing agency. We've been around for over 20 years, and I'm the director of operations there. So I'm kind of like the brain that plugs everything in to make it work for the team that's out there actioning all the things. By night and afternoons and weekends and anywhere else I can, I am a multidisciplinary performer. And then spare time around there, I have a beautiful hobby farm up in the Kawartha Lakes, which is actually where I'm currently quarantining from because I needed to take care of my animals. And it's 5 acres of, wonder and magic, and has 3 horses and 6 chickens on it, who we call the dark hens.
And what are the chickens' names?
We have Attila the hen,
Yes.
Henrietta,
Yes.
Princess Layer, Dolly Parton, I said Attila, Mrs. Peck, and Goldie Hen.
I love it. I love the farm stories. Those horses
Yes.
are real shit disturbers, eh?
Oh, no, it's one horse.
Oh,
He's the one who's the shit disturber. The other 2 are perfectly fine. It's Prince. Everything that's been happening this quarantine has been my horse, Prince. I don't know what the fuck is up with that horse right now, but he is trying my patience. And you have to laugh because the audacity of this guy, like, he does it and he'll stand there and watch for your reaction.
Oh, nice.
And I go screaming out, Prince, chasing him, and he takes off bucking and charging and whatnot. But I think it's literally because he wants to bug me. Like, he's not used to having his mom around so much. I'm usually just here weekends and, any long weekend I can get any extended periods of spare time I can scratch out. And now he's had me 24/7 for 5 weeks. So he's fucking with me, man. Can I swear on this?
Yeah, it's fine. It's not going anywhere except YouTube and my.
Okay. 18 plus. Censor this.
There are other people that live on the farm that take care of them, right?
Yes, my brother and his wife live here. They're in the main house. So it's a big 4-bedroom farmhouse that was restored beautifully by the former owners. So they live here with their 2 daughters, my nieces, and they, in exchange for like a discounted rent, they take care of the animals during the weekdays for us. And we did this as a farm exchange because they wanted to start to save up to buy their own piece of land. And we wanted to stop paying board on our horses and start paying towards our future, our retirement home, this project. And so we ended up finding a place that could do both for both families, where they could live on the land, test out what it was like living in the country and see if they like it. They love it, which is great. And still be able to pay rent at a rate that allows them to save, hopefully aggressively, towards purchasing property of their own. And for us, we needed somewhere that we could get away to on the weekends, that also would encompass what we were normally paying for board for our horses to stay at other facilities, and have it be sort of a one-stop shop. The other idea was, if we all went up here and started, living here, them full-time, us part-time, we'd ensconce ourselves in the community so that if and when other farmers around the area get older, want to get out of farming, are going to parcel off some bits of land. Generally, in rural communities, they'll sell to the community first at a more reasonable rate than they would to city slickers. And so 3 years ago, we sort of jumped at this opportunity, and the 2 families collaborated together to make this happen. And that's how Dark Horse Farms, began.
That's so cool. So
Yeah.
you're quarantining with your brother then? Like
No, because they're in the main house and
right.
we've got our bunkie. So it's almost the best way I could describe it is it's like neighbors. You know, we live across the street from each other. We always say, it's really the street is our shared gravel driveway.
Right.
But Lee and I are in our tiny home, our little bunkie that my brother built. And then across the road from us, which is not really a road, it's, 10 steps across, they're in the main house.
Nice.
So we spent the first 2 weeks really quarantining from each other to make sure everybody had 14 days away.
Right.
And then by week 3, we'd see each other in the shared ground. So,
right.
so we have a big fire pit that's outside that both families use. We have the vegetable garden that all of us tend to. We have the chicken coop that everybody tends to. They have 3 amazing dogs. We have 2 amazing dogs. So all of us are constantly walking our dogs on the land. Running. I'm there just running around being maniacs, which is what's fun about it. So we started to interact a little bit more outside. And then, by week 5, we're like team quarantining on the same land.
Yeah.
Interacting in the outside, but still kind of keeping that social distance just to be safe, right? Like we're the closest thing to quarantining together without quarantining together. And so we're still maintaining that respectful distance, but obviously looking out for each other when we can. And like my little niece is 6 and is into everything that Lee and I are doing while we're up here. So we take her along for a lot of rides. And it was hard for her to realize the first 2 weeks that she had to kind of stay away from us.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to be able to have her, in the dirt, getting the beds ready with us. Beds, that sounds weird. Garden beds. we're turning over the vegetable beds daily, and weeding and doing a lot of stuff to get them ready to be able to plant next month. And she's in there in the dirt with us now, which is great because the first 2 weeks she couldn't be.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of benefits of sort of cohabitating, even if you have your own spaces.
Yeah.
So.
And it probably makes it feel a little less like lonely and a little bit, there's more normalcy, I guess, than just.
There's a weird phenomenon that's been happening for me though. Cause you and I were kind of chatting before we started into this interview, and I'm hypersocial, but
I didn't know that.
Surprise. But this has made me become like a bit of a hermit, and it's weird. Like Lee was just joking with me before we got on this interview. When this finishes, he says that he's going to be the extrovert and I'm going to be an introvert. And I think it's because generally for me, when I'm dealing with anything tough, I have no problem being open about exactly what's going on in the experience, but I don't like to wallow in it for my mental health. And so if I have to tell a story 100 different times about how terrible everything is, I'd rather just not talk to anyone. And it doesn't mean that I don't want to share it. It's usually why I generally post. I have a tendency to post my life everywhere so that everybody knows exactly where I'm at. And then I'm not going to dwell on it. You know what I mean? And it's not to say that you're dwelling. Sometimes that's processing for some people. But for me, like I was likening it to, if the situation's bad, I'm going to tell you that it's not great or that it's bad, and we're going to discuss the badness, and then I'm going to have to live in that badness even more than knowing the situation's bad. So I generally distance myself when those things are going on. And so he's been laughing how so many people have much more time to be connecting now, especially if you're not working, like Lee and I aren't. Our industry was incredibly hardly hit by this, hard hit. But for the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I wasn't picking up people's calls because I don't have anything to say. Everything's shitty and I love you all. And like, aside from texting and checking in and doing what I can and petitioning the government like crazy to get supports in place, which slowly but surely I've had a lot of headway on the individual supports that I was petitioning for, which is great. Nice. Not so much headway on the business supports, so still working on that. Right. But otherwise just didn't want to talk, didn't want to talk, didn't want to connect. And so a lot of people are talking about loneliness. And for me, like this isolation has been like, okay, if we're isolated, I'm isolating. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's a healthy way to cope, but it's just where I've lived at. You know what I mean? So. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the healthy way to cope is here, but I mean, you're obviously processing it,
right?
Whether that's talking to your partner or writing it out or whatever.
Run away. that's my processing.
I get that concept though. I get not wanting to repeat the same stories over and over. Especially if other people are
Right?
not doing great either. Like sometimes you just gotta take care of yourself, and two people not doing great can sometimes be really
No,
supportive, and sometimes it's not good news.
no, I can't. You know what I mean? For my mental health and for my sanity, it's like every day is a fight. We were already sort of,
Yeah.
just loosely talking about this. It's a lot to all of a sudden have all of your taken out from under you.
Yeah.
And that's in both of my industries. Like, I don't believe in putting all my eggs in one basket. It's why I do so many things as a performer. And to all of a sudden, literally just watch it all go up in smoke, and then have no way for you to actually be able to rectify that.
Yeah.
No timeline on when it might get better.
Yeah.
And no real guarantees in place that any of it will be fixable is just terrifying. It's like in any other scenario, really, you recognize that time will make it better and that you'll get through this. But right now, it's like we're all playing the waiting game until I don't know when.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
The biggest challenge, I think, for most people is the like, how do I cope? How do I plan? How do I like, when do I set my sight for? And like the unknown.
Yeah.
So many of us spend our whole lives planning, and planning sometimes as a coping mechanism of just like,
It is. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and so
Absolutely.
not being able to do that's really it shapes people for sure, and not having any control, even though we've never
Oh my God.
had control, but we pretend that we do, and then
That semblance of control.
yeah.
Like as an Aries, like control is number one, right? Planning number two. Like the only reason why I plan so much is really because I'm so scatterbrained. I'm hyper organized because I have no memory, and it's just getting worse as I get older. And like on top of that, my illness, my inflammatory arthritis is actually eating away at my brain cells. The inflammation is making my memory even worse. And so for me, like planning is one of the major ways that I manage my mental health.
Yeah.
Because my anxiety is triggered by, did I forget? What do I have to do? Oh God, don't forget, And so when I can't like set everything up and then tackle it in a concise way, it's bad. It's bad news bears. And then when my anxiety takes over, then my depression monster rears up, right? And just, ooh, no. It gets real nasty in there.
Yeah, fair. And how are you managing, or how are you coping overall, would you say?
Well, I'm limiting my interaction with humans. I don't know if that's coping, but it's a weird thing I'm noticing I'm doing, which is not a lot like me, but okay.
Well, thanks for chatting with me.
That's the thing, is like, it was booked. So I liked that. It's booked, it's scheduled, it's something that I know I'm looking forward to and I'm going to show up for, which is good. It's all part of that routine that I normally cultivate for myself. So that felt good. People randomly calling me in the middle of the day, can't do it. Sorry. I've never done it regularly in the last 5 to 10 years because I am so busy usually. And now that I do have more of a loose schedule that's, bound by me trying to find ways to save the company on a day-to-day basis, or doing the self-care around myself when I'm not coming up with solutions for the company so that I don't fall apart. If people call in the middle of that, like, I just can't. But if you book a call, I'll be there and I'll show up, and that's good.
Noted.
But day-to-day looks like, right? Day-to-day looks, I'm not good at being spontaneous. That's my problem. I'm not good at spontaneity. It freaks me out. Never have been.
I mean, that's not the vibe
my day-to-day is, right? Spontaneous? No.
You do, though.
I
know you more than a surface level now, so I get it. But if I, like, when I just met you, you're like social and like you're able to talk to people really easily. So I think in a lot of people's mind that would equate spontaneity, because it's like, I just like go with the flow, whatevs,
I like over prepare and then go with the flow. So once you have me for like a friend date, a friend adventure, a conversation, a hangout, a show, then we can be spontaneous within these well-scheduled hours. This is my hour for spontaneous adventure time with you. Let's get crazy.
I'm gonna have to check my schedule.
But don't you just call me in the middle of the day and expect me to be spontaneous. It's not going to happen, you know. It's weird. I'm learning more about myself than I thought I would in this freaking
I think a lot of us quarantine.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the challenge for many of us too is like, well, so many of us spend so much time trying to avoid ourselves and our thoughts and like get away from ourselves by all the things that we do, and now we're just like alone with ourselves.
Me and you all day, no matter what.
Really heavy
you can try and do other things, but guess what? Still me and you all the time.
Yeah, can't escape yourself, turns out.
You thought you were looking forward to that moment of escapism 6 months from now? No, it's wiped out. Still, just gonna be me and you down the road. Processing. So
you gotta get comfortable with yourself.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game. What have you learned? Like, can you recall like the most that you've learned about yourself thus far in the quarantine?
I think my most important thing to keep me happy and healthy is keeping a good schedule wherever I can.
Shocking.
So I'm up at the same time. I've taken over letting out the chickens in the morning. Usually if we're up here on the weekends and life is regular, that's a lead job because the weekends are the only time I get a chance to sleep in a bit. But the only thing that I can do schedule wise here is manage my time, right? So I'm up at the crack of dawn to let the girls out. And then I have my 1 hour where I either read, it's like my free time in the day, where I read, or I play my favorite video game, which I don't game. I'm not a gamer. Yeah. I was a gamer when I was a kid. And right before this hit, and Lee and I realized, oh my God, we're going to be out of work completely and we might lose everything. I allocated our last $120 to buy SNES emulator so that I could play Earthbound, which is this 1990s role-playing game. Oh. I really like RPGs. I've never beat it. I started playing it when I was a kid with my cousins and my sister, and I've picked it up a couple times over the years when they came up with like an emulator for my MacBook when I was in college, you know, but I still didn't finish the game. So I said, okay, if this is going to happen and we're going into quarantine, we're buying this. And I thought Lee was going to look at me sideways and be like, we think we're going to lose our income and you're going to go buy a, you know, a fucking Nintendo system. But he was like, yes, I will go look it up. And I was like, thank you.
That's love, you know?
Right?
You know it's the right person.
It's needed. So yeah, I get up at the crack of dawn, I let the girls out. So I get my air. I feed the horses, so I get my animal time. I have 1 hour of free time where I have my coffee and I either read a book or I play my role-playing game. Lee normally gets up about an hour after that. I make us breakfast and we either work out together or go for an hilarious, right? Like amazing what a can of beans can do to your body. Like we were doing the workouts really hard the first 2 weeks of quarantine, so hard that by the end of week 2 of working out, Lee was like, I'm not using the beans today. I was like, they're beans. Like, it's not even a weight. He's like, I'm still going to get just as much of a workout if I do it with my body's own resistance. And like, just as he says that, the freaking person whose video we're watching is like, don't worry, if you have to drop the beans, you're still going to get the same effect. And he just kind of like looks at me, you know, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. Okay. No beans today. That's fine. By week 2, you're supposed to get stronger, but whatever. So yeah, we try to keep to some sort of schedule that looks like working out, one outdoor fun activity, one outdoor chore that helps further the farm. So that can be day-to-day things like once a week we have to refresh the coop, or once a month we have to move hay from our big hay storage to the smaller hay storage. Or that can look like larger projects that we've been meaning to take on around here that we now have the time to take on.
Sure.
So yeah, one fun, like leisure thing, one chore, and then by the evening we come in, we do a dinner, we go for our family walk time with the dogs down to the end of the laneway for the sunset, and then usually a movie at night, and we're in bed by 10:30, and we rinse and repeat the next day.
Lovely. So, sounds like a nice retirement.
That's my little semblance of reality. Now that changes if I've designated a work day where I will usually spend 8 to 10 hours mopping up the mess that is this poor company, and cleaning up the books and answering what few emails have come in, and or campaigning. So when this started, May 15th is when it really hit our company hard. I sent out letters to 72 MPs and MPPs.
Wow.
Looking for help for our contractors, because most of our staff who work with us, over 317 of them, are independent contractors. So they work with us, they work as bartenders at other places, they work with multiple different staffing agencies and catering companies. Like, ours is a gig economy. And so when it's feast time, we eat, and like when it's famine, we've hopefully stocked up enough that we can, get by. And the government wasn't looking out for people like that. So I petitioned 72 different MPs and MPPs, begging them for support for our contractors and for individuals who habitually wouldn't be able to be supported by EI. And then once those initial 72 letters went out, I had another 14 letters worth of correspondence back and forth with 5 different MPs, a bunch of phone calls, you name it. Where eventually the plan that is CERB came into place, because there was other individuals like me advocating, saying the same things to these MPs and fighting and whatnot. And since then, I've done another 92 letters out to different MPs and MPPs for the business side of things, because my first wave of letters also included small businesses and mid-sized businesses who need real relief and not just debt. They didn't pay attention to that the first time the way that we needed them to, but we think it's getting through now. So yeah, usually 1 or 2 days a week is devoted to sort of housekeeping and advocating for the company, and just trying to find a way to staunch the bleeding. I think that I would be a lot better if I wasn't consistently worried about what happens on the other side of this. And I think that's my biggest thing right now, is that I'm always looking ahead. I look at life as a game of chess, and so I'm 4 or 5 moves ahead at all times. And right now, I liken this to driving in a snowstorm. So you can only see your headlights that are like 5 feet in front of the car right now. But if you trust that those headlights are showing you the right thing, you can go 500 miles that way, 1,000 miles. And I've done it. I've driven in the worst snowstorms. I got myself that right now, it's just going to have to be one foot in front of another. You're not going to have a lot of foresight. And it's going to be that, 5 inches of road in front of your face the entire way. And at some point, we're all going to be able to look back and say, holy shit, we came that far. We did it. And I'm constantly reasoning with myself that way. But I think that I'd be able to be in it for the long haul, the same way that I'll drive through a snowstorm, if I knew that those last bits of support were in place for small to mid-sized business like they need to be. Once that's tucked away, cool, you got me, no problem, let's do this. It sucks. It sucks to watch everything that we've planned for the next, 6 months, year, or whatnot go away. That's, gigs that you and I had together, that's trips, that's tours. I was supposed to be heading over to London to do the London Burlesque Festival, so it would have been baby's first European burlesque tour. Like, big things were supposed to happen this year, but that's okay, they can happen again. I just want to see us all get out of this alive. And it means not just alive with our health, which is important, but alive with our finances intact, and with a vehicle to get us out of this, right? Yeah. Because if we don't have our jobs, and I don't just mean Lee and I mean all of us individuals who've been impacted by this, if we don't have our jobs to get us out of this, what happens when this is done, right? Yeah. That's the terrifying part,
Scary, you know?
It is. It is.
I mean, it's
It
also,
really is.
I'm sure, also feels like a purpose and something that you can put your energy towards that actually has some potential for momentum and movement. But also
Yes.
that's a lot to take on. I hope you're not all taking it personally
Yep.
on.
Yeah. Well, it's the only way I know how to take things is personal.
Have you,
That's another Aries trait.
you don't have to answer this, but have you noticed a difference in your pain levels?
Oh yeah, my pain's through the roof. My sex drive has fucking tanked, which is also not who I am as a human.
Right.
Like Aries, highly sexual. Nah,
Only organized
no time
sexual,
for
like
that.
if it's scheduled
It's like
in.
survival mode. My pain is through the roof, and I think I'm managing until I recognize that, like, schedule the pain, right? Fucking stress. I know. I've noticed I clench my jaw at night already, whether I like it or not. That's something I've developed later on in life. I don't grind yet, so thank the gods my teeth are good, but my jaw tension has been insane for this, like through the roof. So that's unpleasant.
I bet. I had my first.
I stress, and so.
Sorry. Oh no, I think
you said you had your first.
Oh, your internet's been. I think it's yours because I. Can you hear me fine? Yours is kind of like choppy, and every once in a while it'll like slow down to slow.
Really? Lee, are you on the internet? Is anything on the internet? Can you take it off the internet? Thank you. Yeah, it seems fine on my end. Okay. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
That's the problem with being out here also, and this is why I also don't take spontaneous calls throughout the day, is we have a terrible internet connection, horrific internet, and if I'm not in the bunkie, my phone actually has no signal at all.
Oh, wow.
It's nice that there's no cell signal out here, but it's weird because, for instance, if you're working remotely, which I do from up here regularly in good circumstances, it's really stressful if I don't expect to, like if I'm not expecting a call and a work call comes in and I'm out by the stables or I'm outside at the archery range or I'm with the chickens, because I can see the call, but if I pick it up, it's instantly dropped. And so, yeah, it's sort of like living in a black hole out here. And so sometimes the internet's okay when you're in the bunkie, and sometimes it's weird. On my side, you haven't been choppy at all. So
okay,
nice ride.
Well, it's hopefully it records okay. If not, it'll be, I don't know. It'll just be slow-mo because I can usually tell what you're saying, but it slows everything down.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Don't be. Although your picture is much clearer now, so maybe whatever was on the internet was the culprit.
Oh, okay. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we have to start the whole thing over, but
I'm ready. Let's do it.
No, I was saying we don't need to go into it, but I had my first nightmare about like the things that are happening, which was surprising to me. Maybe just that it took that long, I don't know, but I also had a dream that I gave birth to a baby turtle, so my mind can be trusted to be representative of my thoughts these days. Who knows?
Here's the joke about that is that at first you were like gave birth, and I was like worried for you, not because it means you're pregnant. Usually giving birth means something new is coming into your life or a new endeavor. But like my views on pregnancy started to creep in there where I was like, oh God, giving birth. And then you're like, to a turtle. And I was like, yes, I would love to give birth to a turtle.
The birth was easy. It was very tiny. And I loved this turtle very much. Like I could feel it in my dream. Like I really loved it. And then I was really upset that my friends didn't throw me a shower.
Oh my God, I would throw you a turtle shower in a second.
Because of the turtle.
I actually say all the time to like some of my closest people. Like, listen, while all of y'all are out here having babies and expecting me at your baby showers, which yes, I absolutely do attend baby showers, and I will get you the good gift. How come nobody throws me a horse shower every time I get a new horse? Because like horses are expensive, yo.
Yeah,
I could
absolutely.
use like all of the startup equipment to welcome this new horse to the family. Agreed. I didn't see anybody throwing me a chicken shower.
Agreed.
You know.
Agreed. What about a new business? A new business
right?
shower?
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, like get them printer paper and ink and whatnot. Like,
I debated having a like pay my student loan off party instead of a wedding, where I just like send out invites with my student loan number and be like, you can just like I'll give you like beer.
I love that.
I'll feed you, but like
I love that. I think that's a great plan. Why not? People would show up.
Well, not now. Now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, not now. Oh, fuck. Damn it. Here we are planning for something again. It'll never come to fruition.
I'm in no rush to pay. I'm in no rush to pay off my student loan. They at least push that off for a little bit. So I'll wrap up in a few minutes because I know you got a movie to watch. You got
it's a schedule.
Right. What are you missing the most? Or
work.
What do you want to do?
Work.
Aww, bless your heart.
Work. It's crazy because I feel so grateful for those services that have been marked essential. Mm-hmm. And that's everything from our healthcare workers, our first responders, but also, our grocery store workers, our people at Dollarama, our bankers, like you name it. But I just want to be part of that force. I get a lot of self-gratification from working, and my job is in the entertainment industry on both sides of the spectrum. So when I say work, I mean all of that. I mean my day-to-day running the event staffing agency, but I also mean my night job, which is, my career. Yeah. I miss performing. I miss shaking my ass on stage. I miss singing for people. I miss crowds and screaming and, taking my clothes off. Work more than anything else. And no offense to all of the lovely friends and family that I haven't seen. Like, I haven't seen anyone, but I want work back first. Yeah. I do. It's crazy. More than anything else. If it was like tomorrow, you could either get back to seeing people or you could get back to work. What would you do? Work?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Would it be any work? Yeah, or specifically the work you were doing?
The work I was doing. Like, yeah. I wish my work could be considered essential. I do.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. I mean, I get it. That's just.
Oh, this is a look.
I'm like, this is worse.
Yeah, you're just shrouded in darkness. It was very mysterious, though.
I was helping.
Mysterious interviews with Olive von Topp.
What is your hope for after the quarantine? Or like, what do you hope comes out of it?
Personally, or for us as a society?
Let's do both.
I think personally, I hope that we're able to save this business and get back on track to sort of taking over the world with our little company that could, because I really believe in it. For the world, I hope that this really does positively impact our socialism, because this is the first time that our government has really recognized that basic income should be a right, that housing should be a right, and that, food security should be a right, not a privilege. Mm-hmm. So I hope that becomes part of the daily rule. I also hope that the environmentalism benefit that's happened, which means like we're gentler on Mother Earth because we're not out so much and we're not consuming so much, can be sustained in a way. I wouldn't be opposed to us having to cut back on, whatever our day-to-day hectic lives look like, if it meant being gentler on the earth, regaining our economy and being able to work and create, but also being gentler on, you know, our consumerism and spend, eat all the fossil fuels, fucking poison the earth. You know what I mean? Because the green witch in me is quite happy to see the positive benefits that have been happening around the earth from us laying the fuck off for 5 weeks. 5 weeks. That's a fucking blink in time in terms of the length of time this planet has been around. So we really are the virus, you know.
Well, it's also really telling, like the amount of repair that's been able in that 5 weeks is telling of how much damage we do. Like, you know, we just push pause for
I know it's sad. Yeah. And like the amount of time that we're constantly going, well, we can't make that much of a difference. We really can't. It's already too far gone. Really?
Well, that's what I kind of wonder sometimes, if someone or Mother Nature was like, oh, you can.
Yeah. Right?
Because we always knew like something drastic had to happen in terms of environmentalism. Something big had, like, apparently using reusable bags at the grocery store wasn't enough to save the world. So
right.
something had to happen. So
yeah.
Do you have would you have a message for yourself now, like a year ago? What would you tell yourself?
Oh God. If I could have talked to myself a year ago, I probably would have said, put more money away for the business and for yourself, because something catastrophic is coming and you can't stop it. It's a slow freight train. Get that rainy day fund up.
Yes. It also slowed down when you said that, which was very effective, because it was
good. Slow freight train coming at you.
Well, good advice.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, is there anything that's happening tomorrow? Is there anything?
Is there anything magic? It's my 35th birthday tomorrow, April 17th, the most fabulous day of the year.
It is. It is the most fabulous day. Well,
thank you.
If you end up doing nothing, I have a polyamory workshop that you're welcome to attend.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah.
What time is that at? I'll see if I can schedule it in.
Right. It's at 7 to 9.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Just shoot me a message if you're interested.
Oh, sexy. I like it.
Are you going to do anything? I know it's not the birthday you wanted it to be at all.
It's not. Yes, I'm doing things.
For yourself?
So, yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. Come on. I'm an Aries. Yes. We're going on a trail ride in the morning. And then we were supposed to do an outdoor photo shoot in the afternoon, but we photo shooted today so that I can have pictures to post tomorrow, because hubby was very lovely about that. And so then I was begging, oh yeah, I wanted to firewalk tomorrow.
Oh,
but
wow.
I didn't get wood, because I'd have to put $200 towards enough wood to do a firewalk, so I wasn't going to. But I'm planning on having a fire and dancing naked around it.
Nice. Lovely.
Yep. And the hubby doesn't want to do it because there's a burn ban around here right now, but I'm going to try and, contain its visibility from the road, because we have a hose literally adjacent to the fire pit. Like, we good. And I really just want to bring in my 35th birthday howling at the moon. If I can't be howling with friends, then I will be howling with, the coyotes out here.
Yeah, do it.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, we'll be howling with you.
Thank you.
Howling, and I'll do it naked too. Just
do it. I fucking love it. I miss being naked on stage. So, naked on the internet is the next best thing. Let's do it.
It's true. Well, I hope you have a lovely day. Despite everything, it will at least be memorable.
True.
And know, I hope you know how loved you are.
You're so magic. Thank you. I'm
Well,
so lucky.
you have some good people.
I do. You're one of them. Thank you.
Like attracts like, you know that, right?
Yes, true. But I want you and all the people who do love me to know how grateful I am for that. I'm going to cry about it. I cry about everything. No, honestly, you guys keep me alive. You do.
You know I'm here, and you know we're here. Even if, you can call me unscheduled, just so you know. So you don't have to schedule it in. I really do appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a tough time, but you're one of the first people I thought of when I wanted to talk to people. I was like, you're so multifaceted and interesting, and you have such a zest for life. And I know this is it's really, really hard. So
thank you. Thank you for thinking of me, and thank you for doing this.
Of course. Keep me posted on how things are. I'll check in, but not call you unscheduled. I'll just send you a message to see how you're doing. And I hope you can be kind to yourself in this time.
Thank you, my love. Honestly, you're magic. And thank you for all that you do and for including me along for the ride.
Of course. Happy birthday.
Mwah, thank you.
See you soon.
Bye. I'll talk to you soon.